Hello and welcome to another Webcam Wednesday, which are the Wednesdays where I don't have time to do anything else but to make an unedited webcam video in one take, which is what I'm doing now. I want to talk today about how annoying Christians are. On the situation where you get manic street preachers, i.e. not the group, people standing on corners of streets and shouting about God. The problem is, of course, that that doesn't persuade anyone. So the question is, why do they think that God is asking them to do that? I mean, I suppose there might be a way that God's asking them to do that. But one thing which I do know about that group, or at least one specific example of that group, and I've heard that it happens in other situations, is that they plant people in the crowd who pretend to be converted because they expect people to go along with that. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that is pure dishonesty, and it is in fact bearing false witness, which is very clearly forbidden in the Bible in loads of places. So that doesn't seem very good as either. And another example of that is when I saw a poster which was the occult in enormous letters and then tiny letters underneath, a Christian perspective. Now the thing about that is also very deceptive, and I didn't think that was okay either. And I do think that Christians are told not to lie. And there are some other examples of that. For example, another thing I don't like is the politics thing. I remember once being told Christians shouldn't be involved in politics because God's got all the answers and therefore there's no point in trying to make the world a better place via that. Another example which contradicts what Paul says at one point was somebody saying, well, the equivalent Christian version of meat is murder is vegetarians are very stupid. Now that seems to me to be not a very positive attitude towards somebody who's made in the image of God. And at this point, it's probably becoming clear that I am in fact a Christian, and I wanted to point out that I am as annoyed as all you are by all these things, and I think that they're about various things. One of them is mistaking passion for the voice of God. Because you personally feel strongly about something, you automatically think that's God telling you that you have to go out and do that. So you personally feel that you want to go out and tell everybody about Jesus, so you stand on the street corner and you shout about it and put everybody off, because that's not what God wants you to do, I'm pretty sure. Although I don't know, because I'm not, God's talking to you and not to me. And I think Christianity is partly about putting reason in front of you and passion behind, and balancing the two and listening to God quietly in that way. Now, of course, I have done this because I have deceived you by calling this video things I hate about Christians. So there you go, I've done that. Now, why have I done that? I suppose I've done that because I think that Christianity is misrepresented. I also want to talk about the idea of substitute morality. I think some Christians want to notch up converts in a way. They get a high score and they go, right, that's what we need to do. We need to bring people to Jesus and not actually do anything to feed the poor, heal the sick, and all that sort of thing. And when I say heal the sick, I'm obviously talking about medical skills and not just some mysterious laying on of hands. Now, I'm going to bring Sharada Gray in here, my wife, because I can't remember the next bit, which is something that Francis of Assisi said, which was...
talk about God all the time. Use words if you must.
Which I think is really good. Because when you talk about God, what you're doing is you are demonstrating the way that God enlightens your life and so forth. And you shouldn't need to say anything. You could quietly say over a coffee at some point that you happen to be a Christian because people ask, but you don't sort of impose that all on them and say, come to the Lord, sort of thing, because that's not appropriate and that's not what Jesus or God wants you to do. And it puts a lot of people off. But I have got one slight caveat here, which is that the person who went around saying vegetarians are very stupid, put the occult, a Christian perspective on things and so forth, was actually the person who did persuade me to, or rather God persuaded him through me to become a Christian in the first place, and that is why I'm a Christian, and I'm a very different Christian from that, and I'm sure that he's moved on from that. So one more thing, if you like this video, please rate, comment, share and subscribe. If you dislike this video, please tell me why so I can improve, and I'll see you tomorrow.